Welcome to today's episode of CLCI Live, brought to you by the award-winning and ICF accredited school, Certified Life Coach Institute. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode.
Hi, everybody. This is Certified Life Coach Institute. Today, we're going to be talking to you guys about copy again. It's copy 2.0, week number 2. We're going to get a little more specific this week and talk about social media copy, headlines, things of that nature, and give you some really awesome information. I'm going to turn it over to the fellas here for a moment and let them say hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday Live with us here at 4. Like Rick mentioned, we will be speaking about copy. We had so much fun speaking about it last week, where we kind of niched down our pretty much tips and tools that we provided. We're going to be based around blogs. Today, we're going to be speaking about social media copy, which is pretty relevant in a bunch of different areas of marketing for coaches. So I want to go ahead and give you guys a bunch of really cool and exciting tips. We all brushed up on these earlier today, so we're excited to share some of them with you guys. And I'll let Anthony kind of say hi.
Hi, everybody. My name is Anthony. I am the head content writer and editor for Certified Life Coach Institute. And last week, we talked about copy and writing sort of as in a broader sense. And you guys seem to like it so much, we're doing it again and narrowing our focus to social media and marketing in that sort of realm. So be prepared.
Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
Oh, yeah. Be prepared for some amazing, mind-blowing tips. The last one.
We didn't squeeze all of the juice out of the fruit last week. No, we felt like we had so much more to speak about. So.
We're not going to squeeze it all out this time either, if I'm honest. Like, it was just not going to happen. There is so much content here with regard to like there's so much we can learn and so much that can, information that can be passed along, and all of it beneficial to coaches, all of it beneficial to folks that honestly, to anybody who wants to post, write anything for social media. I'm going to do sort of like a disclaimer kind of thing. Whenever you're doing this, before we even give you the tips and everything, be sure that you're going to test it out. Like, this is one of the things I was just kicking myself for. Like, set it up, write whatever you're writing, write more than one and test it in many ways and see what works and what doesn't. And don't forget that it's okay if some things don't work and some things do work. So I just want to sort of preface that with that. Like, this is about testing. It's about sort of trial and error. And so it's okay if it's not perfect, the first time. That's
really
part of the process.
Good rule of thumb. Whenever anything online isn't something that's very exciting, the worst that can happen really is it goes away. Best case scenario, you write something really good that sticks and works for you. And that's where
you can always change it too if it's not, and that is what the A/B testing. So post the same thing twice with 2 different headlines and see what works. It's a great thing to do. So that's one thing as we go into this and how to write copy and everything. Keep that in mind. You can try out all of different things along the way and see what works and what doesn't. By the way, hi, Christine McCulley. It's good to see you. And on that note, those of you watching, please interact, ask questions, anything you guys wish. We are here to help you and also to answer your questions. If you have any copy related questions and social media, we want to be there to help you with that. So I'm going to take a few moments. You guys want to go ahead and give any information about writing copy to people? Well, I'm going to share this with a few groups while you do that.
So I want to say one important thing to keep in mind is making sure you're grabbing your audience's attention. That's something that seems like it can be maybe a bit difficult, considering that there's so many different ways you can create copy, especially when we're speaking about headlines. There's just a bunch of different angles you can go at it with. I think what's really important is both understanding your audience and understanding what type of words they'll react to. Once you understand that, you can learn to actually use that information to benefit you. Like for us, in our space of coaching, we use, I guess a good way to say it would be coaching related power words. So there's
power words are important. That's critical. And that's being creative with them too. Like we were just before we came on here, just like we of course did not plan as well as we had hoped. So we were literally kicking around like, what kind of power words, what different ways can we say this? How do we make this exciting? And that's something, this is a process we go through every week when we post on social and write headlines, because headlines are really critical, really, really critical, because that's really what catches the attention of people. And so we always are looking for a way to get to folks. But I will say before that, there's a step that we're skipping even before that. And that is being aware of where your customer is in their journey, like in the journey of your brand, and knowing where because there's different levels. So knowing how to speak to them at each level with what they know and what they know about you and their brand, and keeping that in mind with what you're doing, because you're going to speak to somebody who's very intimately has a lot of intimate knowledge about you and your brand one way, and you're going to speak to somebody who has no clue who you are when you're reaching out, to just the mass people out there, and they may not even know the problem they have that you can solve. You're going to speak to them a totally different way, right? So that's actually a very critical part of choosing what and how to write your copy. Thoughts, fellas?
Yeah, when you're speaking about understanding which part of your customer being in which particular area of their journey they're in, are you also speaking about as far as where you're putting stuff based on where they're at in your funnel, in your marketing funnel?
Yeah, well, this when we say funnel, that's really literally kind of what we're talking about. When we're talking funnel, we're also talking brand awareness, right? So the furthest out, the broadest way is there's I've got to remember his last name. It's Eugene. Oh, it's gonna kill me right now. I'll get it right now. Eugene Schwartz. He wrote a book. It's called Breakthrough Advertising, and he basically broke it down and said it's like a funnel inverted, essentially, kind of. So at its furthest out level, right? They're completely unaware. When they're completely unaware, those are people who may not even know the problem they have that your product solves. So for coaches, if we apply this to real world coaching kind of situation, if I am let's say I'm I don't know, pick a kind of coach, guys.
Say
transition.
Health and wellness.
That's a little on the nose, but I mean, in the sense that it's hard. I mean, health and wellness, a lot of us know with our own health and wellness that the issues we have. I'll give you an example given to me in something that I recently was. So there is now self-cleaning water bottles, right? But prior to the self-cleaning water bottle, nobody was aware that a water bottle had to clean itself, right? We didn't realize there was an issue with water bottles being dirty. So now this brand has the hurdle of communicating to massive amounts of people that there is a need, a necessity for self-cleaning water bottles, right? So that their job, the first hurdle is making everybody aware of the problem they have that they may not even know that they have. And that the way that you do that and you speak to those people is with quizzes, is with copy that hits that emotional hook, right? Where you tap into that thing that's eating at them, that they are aware of. And that's so, if we're a coach, are you feeling stuck? You're not directly saying you need coaching. What you're doing is communicating to their pain at that point. And in oftentimes sort of even bringing to light that pain even exists. And that's why something like a quiz or asking a question or about that or that emotional hook is really critical in that, like, all the way out here area, that highest part of or the furthest away from awareness from your brand. Does that make sense?
That's where you're speaking. Well, what I was kind of speaking about when mentioning making sure you're garnering attention. I would say, again, using like what you mentioned in speaking to, you say it all the time, speaking to the reptilian brain.
Yes,
where you're getting that emotional punch, and then once you have their attention is when you can start.
That's the
information.
It's really critical that on that level, when you're talking to people basically who aren't in your funnel yet, to the general public, when you're on a podcast and it's listeners that have never heard of you and your brand before, when you're doing any number of things where the audience, the people may not know who you are and what you're doing. Though that's when it's really critical to communicate to the reptilian brain, because when we make decisions, we decide emotionally and then we justify it logically. And it's actually that will takes you through the next levels of brand awareness. So the next level of brand awareness would be what is they are aware of that they have a problem. They're problem aware. So now they know I have a problem, but they don't know what any of the solutions are. So like that's the next level of that. And so in that one, that's when you're going to start to get really empathetic with them and be like, we get it, you've got this going on. You know, and so there's a very cool like science you can sort of apply to writing your copy based on who you're talking to and where they are in your funnel. So if you have like a social media group, right, and you're posting into a group of people that have already agreed to be in your group, you're going to speak to them much differently than you're going to speak to some just blasting an ad post out there, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's probably going to be much, I wouldn't go as far as saying much more personal, but definitely personalized, rather than where they would be getting a message at that first stage that we're speaking about.
So I have a question then. If I'm someone who's starting out as a coach and I'm just starting sort of an advertising, marketing, social media campaign, do you think it would be easier to start with your audience? Should you start with those who are already problem aware because that defines your niche more? Or do you think it would be better to start with those who are completely unaware of the problem? I have my own personal opinion about that.
I think that regardless, you should be okay. Yes, you're right. Amazing point, by the way, Anthony. Whether or not you meant to bring it up, we have skipped 2 steps here. We really have. And the first step being that before you even get to this point, you have to define what your niche is. You have to define who your audience is. You have to build out that ideal client, that avatar, whatever you call it, and know where they are, where to reach them, and how to get to them. But that doesn't mean, though, that those people are necessarily going to be aware that they're aware of the issue, the pain that they have. It exists, right? But what they may not be aware of is that it is solvable, that a coach can help them, that these kind of things. So bringing that to light with them is really, really critical, but you still have to go and figure out where they're at to begin with. And I think it is kind of hubris to assume that everybody in your ideal client market is going to know exactly what a coach is, what they do, and that you can help them. Would you agree with me there? Yes, no, maybe? Thoughts?
I would agree, but that would very much influence, because if we're just starting from the broadest levels of people who aren't aware of their problems and that they exist, and those who are aware of the problem, it's probably going to be very easy. It's going to be a lot easier for most people to write directed towards a specific problem. Because let's take, for example, we're trying to convince people that there is actually a problem.
There's a disconnect here, though, because I think that what you were saying, the furthest out, you're still speaking to the problem. You're still, that's that emotional hook. That's when you're really, really tapping into that problem and the way it makes that person feel. So you're absolutely, that the whole purpose of the first level is to make them aware of the pain that problem is causing them, or the potential for anything that problem. If we go back to the water bottle example, you're going to say, did your bacteria, is there bacteria full of your water bottle or filled in your water bottle? Are you making yourself sick with your water? Things like that. You're tapping into that fear at that point, that like, oh my God, I had no idea.
So yeah, if we use that water bottle as an example, you would maybe frame it as I guess like a headline would read something as, is your water bottle actually killing you?
Yes, exactly.
Now that might be a bit.
Oh, that's great though, because
emphatic, but it grabs your attention.
Exactly, and this is it's at that stage that you want to do that punch in the face, that very like kind of shocky, because they don't know, they're off, floating around and looking up at the sky, and then you're like, you have to get their attention somehow and cut through the noise, and the way that you do that is with that really powerful punch in the face kind of moment. So perfect example of that. I
So, for example's sake, we can step it down to the next level, which is those who are aware that their water bottles may or may not be killing them. Um,
well, they're aware that they're aware that they want water bottles that are not murdering them. Like
Yeah.
they know that much, but they don't know how to get that. They don't know what the solutions are. Let's say.
they would know that I have to have a water bottle for certain reasons, like you need a water bottle, you need a dedicated water bottle, not like disposable ones, to save the environment.
So on
It's
this, yeah,
easier, so you have to have the water bottle, but
this
you
is
need
exactly
to do something about the water bottle killing you.
the kind of copy you want to use in this space is going to be where you're going to give them statistics, facts, stories, things that show to them that you understand what they need, understand their story, and then begin to prove and build that trust that you might be the solution, or you at least are aware and empathize with their problem. So this is in this next level. Empathy is very important.
So headline could be like, tired of your water bottle killing you? Try this
Or-
instead.
No, I think it would be something more like along the lines of
Reasons why this water bottle is changing my life.
yeah, this water, your water bottle, 75 or 99% of water bottles contain bacteria. This one though might be different, or is different. How about do you want a water bottle that will help you? And then you give them stats in that though. This is where you want to get more of that data-based, statistic-based, because this is where they're starting their research journey, right? This is where they're going to start doing the research to find out more information about how to solve their problem.
Jerome, are you drinking out of a self-cleaning bottle?
So you want to be the solution, and to be the solution, you want to provide them with information, because once they realize there's a problem, what's the next logical step that you take as a human being? You start to research, right? So that's where it's really critical in this second phase that you start to inform, and you go, okay, well, hey guys, this is the 5 reasons why water bottles kill you. Here's the solution. This is the, and you start to put that so that those things come up in those searches, because they're on the next level and they're looking for answers really at that point. And you're going to want to position yourself to be the answer.
So I think at this point, as we get more specific, it might be good to switch over get rid of the metaphor of the water bottle and switch over
go to coaching probably.
because marketing and writing for copy for products is a lot different than services and
Absolutely.
yourself as well, because you're going to be injecting your personality and your voice into your marketing as well, because you are so intertwined with the service that you're providing.
So I think it's beneficial to just use real life examples of either a sample client I've worked with, or we can just do sample client. So if I have a coach that is, let's say they are a coach that is in there. Well, I've got somebody we'll work with now, and I'm not going to say who it is, but it's a time-focused coach about time management, about getting your time in order. Okay, so on the first level, she's going to say something like, I'm not going to give her verbatim, but you're going to say, are you in charge of your time? Feel like you have no time. How many minutes of your life have you lost? Right? Like that's your shock and awe kind of thing. Are you wasting precious time? Now, then the second level will be, for this coach, will be 5 proven ways that time is wasted day to day, by business, if it's business focused at your business, in your profession, how you're losing time at work, 15 statistics that show you what you can do better, something along those lines. I'm just pulling out of thin air here. One of the things that we've talked about even doing with this client is building out a calculator that says where people can value their time. They can value their time. They can input time so that they see what is being wasted. And so think about how much information this gives a person on that next level. And then they can see how much money they're losing by wasting time. And that would be a fantastic tool to give on this next level of awareness.
So this is taking people who aren't aware that there's a problem and then making them aware that there is a problem, and then teasing that there are solutions to this.
It's not, it's giving them, you're gonna, this stage, that stage, you want to give, because you want to be generous in your copy, you want to be generous in your information, and you're giving at this stage. So you are giving them lots of information. Because by doing so, you are establishing trust, you're building yourself as an expert, and you are creating an area, a space, or a space with somebody that they can learn and they can learn from. And that will make them, as a coach, look up to you, will make them value what you have to say, your skill, your ability, your experience. All of this comes into play very much so in the second level of awareness, for sure.
So let's move to the next sort of
level of awareness.
So you're aware of solutions that are out there. So let's say I'm
That's
someone who
like
knows
solution
I'm wasting my
awareness.
time. There's a lot of solutions that are out there to help me save time. There's time management apps that you can download.
So before stepping back though, let's talk about the third level before we get there. So we've gone from completely unaware to now problem aware to now solution aware. So now your client is, they know they have a problem. They know there are solutions. So what you want to do in this space, in the solution, is you want to start to introduce your unique selling point. What makes you different and stand out from all the competition at this point? Because you are taking them down. You see, it makes logical sense here, right? Because what's the thing? If we think about the thought process of how somebody's searching, they begin unaware. They find out they have a problem. They start to research how to fix the problem. Now, how do I find the best solution for me? And that's why that unique selling point comes in. That's why that ideal client is so critical here as well, because you are going to want to be speaking to them personally at this point. This is the point where you are talking to them about their problem and why you are the perfect solution. And knowing them inside and out is critical. Does that make sense? So, Anthony, do you have examples you'd like to give, possibly, potentially? Right.
Well, I was going to say there's the numerous solutions that are out there for people who, for example, need to save time. You're convincing people and persuading them that your solution, which would be coaching, is the right one for them.
I hesitate to even say persuade, but even though yes, we are absolutely, you are persuading, you are marketing. I feel like there's a weight there of manipulation.
We can take a little peek behind the marketing. We're on the other side of it, so it is.
What you're doing is you're basically putting yourself out there and saying, "Hey guys, this is me. This is what makes me different. This is why." And this is also, you don't have to be everybody's flavor of ice cream. Like not everybody is going to love mint chip. Not everybody's going to, but that doesn't mean that mint chip doesn't have its audience. So don't be afraid at this point, especially to be speaking directly to who your market is and tailoring your copy and everything to that market, and being unafraid of alienating people that are not in your realm at this point, because there's no reason to speak to them. You're not a right fit. So, and also you want to get really personal with people at this point. Like really, this is when you want to talk to their issues, when you want to speak to benefits, speak to the benefits. That's a big part of this right now. This is something we talk about in class all the time, is being able to give benefits, being able to give, at this point, they know their pain. So now we're connecting the pain to the motivator, to the action. So I'm the solution. Does that make sense? Yeah. Also, this is a great level to bring in testimonials as well. Really, really great, because now you can prove to them, this is also why I'm the best choice. And that's why that testimonial is really critical. To apply this to your website and everything as well. Know that that's probably not the first place people are going to find you. So you're on your website, you want to be speaking to them likely on this third level more so. Yeah.
This is a point where you could show your process as well, sort of like what distinguishes you from other coaches as well.
That's the unique selling point. Absolutely.
So what tools, what special things do you include, or that's part of this whole coaching process that is better than other coaches who may do similar things?
I would beg to differ, and I think that might fall more so in the next stage of awareness, which is product awareness, which is where you're going to be specifically explaining the details
Of
of
your product, yeah.
whichever service you're providing or your product, for an example.
But I think I want to, before we get to there, because that's a place I think that coaches are really kind of good at mastering and writing about, because it's really, the level 2 is when you're on that second level of awareness, it's about us a little bit at that point. And we are all really, really, really good at writing about ourselves. That's one thing we know, so we feel very comfortable doing that. So before we leave the realm of the client, but even still, it should always be about the client. I just really want to, is there any other ways you can think of for a coach, through copy, through anything really, to separate themselves from the competition on that third level, to get people to get to their website? To any thoughts about that, guys?
Again, I think just being really personal. It might sound like you are, again, alienating some of your potential customers, but what it really is doing is giving the customers that are actually going to come to you, it's giving them something to cling on to that they've been looking for, so they can go further down that or further up that ladder of awareness, so that they can get closer to actually becoming a client of yours or a customer, depending on which situation we're speaking about.
You can also listening at this point to your followers, to your interactors. That's huge. You'll hear them say a lot of people when they call over I'm comparing people. Right now I'm going through, I've looked at a lot of coaches. That is a giant red flag, or not red flag, let's say, like, I don't know,
green flag.
Green flag, that they are in an evaluation stage, but that they also trust you on some level, that they also have started to form some kind of connection with you, because they would not be reaching out to you. This is them saying, I've narrowed it down and you're one of the finalists. Yep. So that's why it's so critical at that point to really go, okay, well, I'm one of the finalists. Here, if I'm on the phone, like for CLCI at this stage, I would say, well, we have won multiple awards. We've been in business for 12 years. We've certified over 10,000 coaches. And I would start to list those accolades, those awards, those things that separate us and make us a worthy candidate, essentially. And so that's really critical. Again, completely different copy, though, completely different approach than out here, all the way on the outside with the shock, you have a problem, to let me inform you, help you, guide you, be your expert, to now this third level of, this is why I'm awesome, and what sets me apart, and this is my proven track record. And that's level 3. So now we can move into level 4, shall we? Which is, like, as you said, the product aware. This at this point, they have kind of, they're picking you, right? Pretty much. Like, this is very, I mean, they're pretty much there, but you're really going to sell them with the process at this point. This exactly is when you want to be like.
This is a salesy.
You can be salesy. At this point, this is where you can be salesy, because they trust you now. They have embraced you on some level, and they are saying, okay, sell to me, because I really want, again, we go back to what we talked about before. We decide with our emotional brain. At this point, they've decided, they have decided what they're looking for is, for the logical brain, is seeking justification, essentially. So you have to give them that justification, and you have to justify it with the process, justify it with, well, if it was CLCI again, I would say, if it's 3 days, if you want to be certified in 3 days, there's some people that want 6 months. Our clientele wants 3 days. That's very specific, but it serves a specific group of people, and it's not something we're ashamed of. It's something we're proud of. So that's where you start to bring in the process as a coach in this 4th level.
You hear about being sure to advertise what makes you unique, what makes you different than your competition. This is going to be exactly where you're going to want to go ahead and stress that and drive that home.
Now, a point I want to bring up about this group too is they're sold on you right now. Right now, what they're doing is trying to decide what product to buy. So it's here that in that, having that process, knowing what your program is, knowing what your pricing is, knowing, like, these kind of things will come in handy with getting them into, at this point, you want to help them decide what to purchase. And you want to sort of hold their hand through that and know what you can offer them. And so what are examples of things you could, as a coach, be giving to your clients in this space, in this realm, when they, or even actually, before we do that, what are indications do you guys think that a client is here and wants to know what to buy?
They're picking up the phone and calling you.
Yes.
That is one that you don't want to let go, because a lot of people right now, they're, totally fine with being in personal. They're just want to send off the email or the text message or fill out a form. But if they're actually going out of their way to call you to get more information, like, they're pretty much already there at that point, and it becomes less about copy and more about, your speaking and interpersonal skills.
Well, and it's still about copy though, because a lot of it can still happen via email with regular emails, and it's about, this is where you want to throw out offerings, right? This is where you want to start to throw out that, like, hey guys, you want to incentivize. Essentially, you want to be like, there's a scarcity. I have a program starting. There's only going to be, there's only 10 spots in it.
So for us, it would be, putting out on social media, hey, we have only X amount of seats left for this offering right here. And those are people who are already aware of the solution, and they're already aware of the services, but there's this time limited offering, and you'll use certain techniques to write that in maybe a Facebook post or something similar.
You want to get the information to them, which is email lists will be handy in this, because most of the time these people will be a little further in your funnel. For a coach, this is where your group coaching clientele are going to come in. This is where your evergreen kind of stuff is going to come in, your webinar land. This is going to be not your highest ticket sales item at this point when they're in this level. This is where you're selling them. They're getting used to handing you money, kind of. So you're going to get them in with the group coaching, which is why having that limited amount of space. I've got a 10-person group coaching program. It starts this date. Get in now, and the price is lower, so it's more palpable. So you're not scaring them off, because they have not fully reached into their pocket and they're not fully sold yet. They're not at 5. When they're at 5, then you can ask that high ticket item once they've gotten to 5. So let's talk about 5 really quick. So 5 is, I have bought something. I've handed you money, most likely. I'm a huge fan. I've had a great experience. Give me more to buy. And that's our aware, very, very aware client at that point.
Yep. These are,
go ahead.
For us, an example would be our alumni. We're working on it. Level 3, that would be where we're pitching the idea.
Or even level 2. Once they finish level 1, they're in their level 5. For a coach, you can have, at this point, let's say you sold 1 session. Okay, and you've done your discovery session or whatever, but you have not sold the program, but they had a great experience after that 1 session or that discovery call. This is then they're wanting more. They're in level 5. The give them 5. That's when you give them the one-on-one coaching. That this is my program. This is my one-on-one. Will you do 6 months with me? Retain me? Whatever you want to do. That is that commitment, that longer-term commitment. That's going to be a higher cost. Because at this point, they trust you, they know you're valuable, they know what you do, they want what you do. And so it should be a much easier sale than just asking Joe Schmo off the street to give you, $5,000 to work with you for 3 months or something, if that makes sense. It's not going to happen. It's the person that already knows you, has had a decent amount of experience and built some trust with you, that is going to give you that higher cost, that higher ticket, that higher value coaching client action. Sorry, I got very excited. I feel like I've been talking a lot. So
eventually, this last level also happens, I would say, fairly slowly, because you're building your brand and you're building your trust as well.
It's so like
an example I was thinking of as we were talking about this is Tony Robbins.
Uh-huh.
Tony Robbins is at that last level just by virtue of him being one of the most famous coaches, I would say.
Yes,
and it's similar to but I would say it's similar to how people are already aware of Google or Microsoft or Apple.
So Apple,
it's just part of the culture now. And if you're even a little bit into the life coaching sphere of influence, you'll probably heard of Tony Robbins. and he's almost like a brand at this
Oh,
point.
he is a brand. He absolutely is. He's a huge brand, and he's smart. But what I don't want to do is discredit the fact that there is still a great deal of marketing that man goes through. Like,
Yeah.
his marketing, it is impressive. And the way he structured it is very, very impressive, and has in many ways served to create his brand. So he doesn't just walk out on the street. I mean, he does. I'm Tony Robbins and get clients, but the ones that are going to pay him the $20,000, the $50,000, whatever it is, they have a lot of previous experience with his brand in some regard, and there has been a lot of process they have been through with his team before they get to that point.
That's what I was saying. That's why it takes time to get to that point. You may
Oh, absolutely.
That might be eventually the end goal that you're looking for, but
give it time. No, you can't expect these things to happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot. Now, mind you, there are some people. I'm one of those people that just buys. Like, mind you, I will do some research first, but then once I have the gut and I'm ready, I just go and I just accept it and I just run through it. So sometimes it can happen quickly. It can. But mind you, on the other flip side of the coin, there are things like furniture I will take a year and a half, 2 years to buy sometimes. So it can vary hugely. Be patient. Don't give up on people. Sometimes some people take a long time. Some people take a short time. It really depends. There's a lot of factors just in our day-to-day lives as human beings that go into what we're purchasing. On that note, as a coach, you might have somebody that you're like, I had them. If they don't buy right away, it doesn't mean they won't come back. It doesn't mean that you aren't still in there. It doesn't mean they're still not a fan. There's a lot of things that people have in their lives that have nothing to do with you, that might be at play.
So we spent a lot of time talking about these sort of 5 levels of awareness. So let's bring it down to some more tangible things. Also, do we have any comments as well or questions?
No, everybody's very quiet today. They're just listening. I think we're talking a lot. I think also with marketing, a lot of, especially for our coach folk out there, it's a very intimidating space.
So let me ask this then. I'm Joe Schmo, doesn't know anything about social media. Why should I care about copy for social media? Who cares?
Why should you care about copy? Why should I care about copy? Like, that's
yeah, but like, okay, for example, for me, in my real life, I avoided social media like the plague. Eventually, I saw the usefulness of it, and why should I guess maybe I'm standing from a hypothetical person from the outside, because it seems like to us social media is, king for getting the content out to people. But why should people care about the different channels, I should say, of social media? So why would I care over Facebook versus Twitter versus Instagram versus...
And are we talking about copy though, particular, or are we just talking about marketing in general?
I mean both, but let's just go for the copy then.
Well, I think regardless, no matter what channel you're on, no matter what you're doing, if you're putting something out there, you should be putting it out with an intention and thinking about what it contains, what it's going to write. And I think that if you are putting stuff out there with the intention to garner clients, you've got to be very particular about how you write your copy, and you can know some good tools. There are just some very basic tools. Maybe this is what we should talk about. It's very basic tools that you can utilize to make your copy more successful. If you define success as getting clients, getting more followers, getting followers that convert, things of that nature. There are some little things you can do and integrate and use. So let's use some of the tools and tips before we sign off.
Killer headlines, yeah.
So, well, guys, what's a tool or tip that people they can use to integrate basically into their copy on any social, just in general, that works, that is tried and true, that is proven?
I would say writing the best headline you possibly can.
Well, what makes the best headline? I mean, that's a little vague now, isn't it?
Well, it's a bit vague, but a headline is different from, let's say, the title of like an academic journal. Yeah. I've been in the academic world, and I've seen some very long-winded, very specific titles that, they tell you the information, but they're not gonna, be wowing anybody. They're not, because when you're on social media, you're scrolling through links
Oh.
and different headlines all the time.
Yeah.
So what
And-
makes something good, a headline good? So what makes something stand out?
Sweet and short. I think just based on time, well, in that realm of social media, everything happens so fast. You want to give it to them really short and really sweet, using powerful words,
Powerful words.
things that might attract them, such
Simple.
as
Short, sweet, simple, powerful,
maybe
emotional.
throwing in a quick statistic within the headline. That's something that could be attention grabbing.
That's being specific right there as well. Being specific. So we got S's. I like this. So short, sweet,
Let's
simple,
keep it going.
specific.
Here's another one that's not
Sensational.
S, but numbers or numbered, because we're also taking in mind Google SEO. And if you've watched the last live that we did or read the most recent blog, we talk about how Google is an audience as well, and it takes in your headline and will move it to the top or bottom of their little search engine, depending on how relevant it is. So,
Well, and that's another thing. So here's a couple more things for headlines is making sure it's fresh. It's that whatever information you're giving out there, whatever headline, you want to express that this is new information, this is cutting edge information, that this is also where you can leverage scarcity. That this is information that not everybody has because it's new, and so that will get people to click on your thing because they're like, well, I got to know before anybody else does, or I can't be left out, or I can't not know. And you want to, that's another way to sort of tap into that emotional, I don't want to be left out moment. Like you said, using numbers, that's data driven. People they don't trust things on the internet. If you give them data, if you give them numbers, they're going to be inclined to click on things. Any other ones that you guys can think of?
So maybe we can come up with an example, because I mean we're saying a lot of things that you should do, but what does that actually sound or look like?
So let's give examples of each one.
Let's say hypothetically I'm a
Here, I'm going to share my screen and then we'll type one out. How about that? I'm going to put up the little thing, you know what? And we can create a
killer
awesome headline for this live. Okay.
So let's just say hypothetically I'm a coach who specializes in saving people time. I could write a headline for a article that I could post on Facebook. 7 scientifically backed tips.
Why did you choose 7? I'm just curious.
7 is I don't know the actual neuromarketing
there's
thing.
some neuromarketing behind it.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but 7 to me sounds like a good number.
It sounds good to you though. So the reason
3, 5, 7 odd numbers.
We as human beings find odd numbers to be far more interesting, far more stimulating, far more inclined to click on an odd number than we are an even number when we have ads and things like that. So that is so we're going to use that. Okay, so for this headline, we'll go 7. Now, this is where we'd insert a power word. We talked about having powerful words and things like that. So with proven or...
I think scientifically would be good as a good power word.
Well, if we're talking about time, I was thinking like time proven, tried and true. But I'm feeling like we should validate ourselves kind of. This is proven. This is, we've got a list of power word things. We'll just say proven for now. But I don't think proven's boring. I think we've seen it 100 times. We need a different word.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up a cheat sheet I have over here. So by the way, when Anthony writes this article, we will include some awesome links to cheat sheets and things like that. And by cheat sheets, I mean tools that we use in our own.
Also, why do power words even work? What the heck is a power word versus a
normal word?
A normal word.
Power words evoke emotion. Do you guys want? I'm going to stop my share. This is a fun. I like to do this. It's kind of a fun. I'm going to say a word, and I want you guys to tell me what it makes you feel.
Okay.
So let me pull up. I'm going to pull up this other one for this. This one. Okay. So tell me what this word makes you guys feel.
Mm-hmm. Close my eyes for this too.
You're gonna close your eyes. You gotta get into this.
Visualize the word.
Some deep breaths.
So if I say exclusive,
Classy.
Makes me feel like secret, like I'm part of this inner crowd. That if it's something's exclusive, I'm excluding other people as well, so I'm special,
you
better.
feel special. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah. If I say to you, lifetime guarantee,
Say good value.
ironclad. How about that one? Ironclad.
Ironclad.
Mm.
It's solid.
You can't
Yeah.
break it.
Personally, I don't know if that'd work on me. I hear ironclad and I think clunky.
Okay, how about this one? Revolutionary.
Revolutionary.
I don't like that one.
Yeah.
It might be a good power
But that's
word.
okay.
I
So-
personally don't like it because I think it's a little bit.
I've got better ones. Hold on. I've got a whole list over here. These ones are great. Hold on.
It's a little bit too much for me.
It's a little too much. So that's the thing. There's a fine line. So how about this? Deadly, devastating, catastrophic, evil. How do you feel when I say those things?
Scared. I'm afraid.
Great, right?
Mhm.
How about hurting, shame, suffering, exposed?
I think
Embarrassed.
exposed is probably the
What is
one
that?
for me.
What does it make you want to do?
It's like it's
Curl up.
vulnerable. You want to.
Right? Like, so but it's
Cross your
eliciting
arms.
physical reactions from you
Yeah.
guys, right? These is what made these powerful. So how about next one? Surprising, discovery, instant, revolutionary.
I want to go on a hike.
I get excited.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I get curious too. Surprising, discovery, instant, revolutionary. I'm like, I want to know. How
And
it
for you, for if you're not creative, when you're writing these things and trying to come up with like headlines or like copy that's limited to 140 characters or 3 lines, use a thesaurus. There's nothing wrong with
Power
it.
Thesaurus is the
Power-
thing.
yep.
Power Thesaurus is the tool, the one. I will promote that till the day I die. Okay, I got 2 more. Expert, honest, guaranteed, proven.
Trustworthy.
I feel
It makes me reassured because I'm a very skeptical person naturally. I think a lot of people are
Mhm.
as they're going through the
Especially
headline.
online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last
Expert
one.
makes me a little bit curious too.
Last one. Limited, exclusive, forbidden, now.
I want to hear about it, but I don't know if I want to subscribe to it. I do want to hear about what's
Got it.
going on.
Forbidden's kind of funny because that seems like the odd one out, but forbidden makes me like, oh,
It is,
I
though.
want the forbidden fruit.
It isn't though. Think about it. Limited, exclusive, forbidden, now.
What if I made a headline, the 7 forbidden
It
times?
would, I would look. I'd be like, oh, got it. I gotta check that out. They're forbidden. Like it's that like taboo that it gets that interest. It piques that like, I shouldn't be here. And there's not not everybody's gonna look at this because it's forbidden. So
Maybe that should be the title of this blog. The
What is-
forbidden
so
copyright.
what did those words do? What did they do? Like what is the common thing that those words all have in common? What did those words
They make me stop and
Yeah.
they make me curious. And I guess the stopping power of them is probably the most important because you're making people, you're getting them out of their process of just scrolling through their feeds. If I stop on something and take more than 3 seconds to look at it, I'm way more likely to actually click it and continue.
it elicits an emotional reaction. It
Mhm.
elicits right there. We are talking to the reptilian brain. We are getting emotional with people. Like when I said, what was it? It was the exposed, that word that makes me want to protect. Like I immediately get like protect. Like I just want to like protect things. Cover.
Or exposed could also be like you're uncovering something. So like
Well, yeah, it's a
we
different.
expose
So
the
that's why I read them like hurting,
Right,
shame,
something.
suffering, exposed. When you put them all together in that string, that's a critical thing to note. How those words are placed can make a big difference on how they're interpreted too, right? Because not every word has the same meaning in the same context. But the point being that they elicit emotional reaction from people. They get people to feel something is what they do. And that's that outer level. That's why you want that in your headline. You want to be like, what? You want to stop people, as you said. So it's next step we've got the. Are we going to keep going with the writing this thing out? Are we going to do that? Is that what we're going to do, guys?
our example headline.
I can go back to it right now.
Go do it right now.
So
I think this is a good time to point out the fact that this can take a while, and
Oh,
that's
yeah,
okay. I mean, when we go over, what headline we're going to use for each of our articles, or even for this video, we'll go back and forth and we'll change it, throughout the week. So it's not necessarily something that is absolutely set in stone once we actually go live. But it is a timely process, but it is reason being for that, it's important. This is going to be the first thing that someone sees when they're scrolling down their timeline is that headline. So did something come to light?
I've got 7 forbidden life-changing hacks. So, no, but the reason I'm putting these in here is the forbidden gives their interest. The life-changing speaks to them and something that will happen to them. The hacks is giving them information that's saying, hey guys, you're going to get informed in this. And that's why tips, hacks, how to learn, all of that, those are also amazing things you can include in your headlines. Mm-hmm. This can be followed by, if you want 7 forbidden life-changing hacks, and you could put that earned me 5.3 or 5,300,660,000, and you get a really specific number there. But specificity is very important. But we're talking about time in this though. So 5 forbidden life-changing hacks that saved me. Why is it's not typing? My keyboard is just gone wonky on me. There we go. That saved me, or actually let's do this, that added 2 years to my life. Oh, we should do 3 years. But we want to be more specific. I would say like that added 374 days to my life, or you could say extra minutes in my day. But this is referencing time is also something that's very, very, very good to put in your copy. That added, we'll just say this. Let's be less over the top. 57 minutes to my day.
Here's one that I think that would be an alternative one that could like really get people interested. 7 forbidden time savers that will make you look crazy.
Well, that's true. Time savers, and then you can comma. Mm-hmm. The third one, or one of them, I couldn't live without. Like, but that's peaking that's that exclusivity. That's that like I have to have that information. So let's do that. Time save. My keyboard does not. Oh, that's why. Time saving hacks. That what'd you say after that?
That I would think either that will make you look crazy or that will make your peers think you're crazy.
How about this? That no one will
believe,
or no one has the courage to try.
If you want to be a little bit off kilter, you could say that no one has the balls to try.
Yes, but what does that do? That goes, well, I'm going to try it. I want to click on this.
Yeah, you're calling me out now, so this is personal,
But so this is a headline that is powerful. It's divisive. It gets it out there. We're about done for the day, guys. So, but would you click on that headline? 7 forbidden time hacks that no one.
And just like Anthony, I can be a little skeptical too. So I would click on that though. I definitely would.
For the same reason, you can click on it to be skeptical about it too. Be like, yeah, right. But it still gets them in your funnel. It still gets them reading. And so that's why it's okay to be a little over the top, a little divisive, a little crazy, a little kooky, especially when you're talking that 5th level of awareness. Yes. So
before we got to go too, I want to mention it's a creative process. This isn't something that, again, you'll be able to sit down for 5 minutes and get done. Sometimes you got to step away, get back to it.
Always step away. Always
realize that, yes.
Always have a second set of eyes on your copy. Like write it several times. Have somebody else read it. Anybody else. That's huge. All right. Are we good? Are we done? Yeah. All right, I'm going to say bye to everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to those of you who tuned in. Please make sure and check out Certified Life Coach Institute. We certify life coaches in 3 days. We also try to help them write copy. Make sure you guys like, share, and all of that good stuff. And thank you so much for watching. Do you guys want to say bye?
See you guys. Hopefully you guys
Go right.
get some powerful words out there this week.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Once again, this is brought to you by Certified Life Coach Institute. We're an ICF accredited school who certifies our life coaches in 3-day online intensive courses. In addition to other podcast episodes, feel free to check us out every Tuesday at 4:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube or Facebook for our CLCI Lives, where we get together and discuss various topics that are centered around sharpening your skills so you can become a better certified life coach. For more information, feel free to visit us at certifiedlifecoachinstitute.com. Until next time, be well.